They told him he had 5 good years left. That was 15 years ago. He's still standing, still speaking, still living. This is Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. A podcast about what happens when life throws you something incurable, and you fight back anyway. Hosted by Bryce Perry. Diagnosed at 40, 15 years into the battle. This is the truth behind the tremor. Let's begin.
When the Prince of Darkness said, "I'm not dying from Parkinson's, I've been working with it most of my life," he revealed something that completely changed how I think about this condition. See, Ozzy Osbourne, he didn't just survive Parkinson's. He taught us how to fight with it, how to live with it, and he even taught us how to laugh in the middle of it. Stick with me to the very end of this one, because I'm going to be sharing something really special, a personal tribute to Ozzy from someone who actually gets it. And as someone living with Parkinson's, when I first heard Ozzy's story back in 2020, I felt seen. But what most people don't know is this. Ozzy has been managing symptoms since 2003, 16 years before his official diagnosis. And that matters because so many of us live in this invisible space where something's wrong, but no one can name it yet. How many of you are like that? See, Ozzy's 16-year delay, it's more common than you think. I mean, I went through something similar before I had a name for what it was I was dealing with. I had weird stiffness. I had this weird, shake in my finger, which I called it a shake. I didn't know what else to call it. Starting to have trouble buttoning my shirts. And, I just had a hand that just didn't feel like mine anymore. And people around me said I looked tired, I looked stressed out, or looked like I was getting older quicker. Nice. But you know what? Parkinson's doesn't show up politely, does it? It sneaks in. It takes your normal and scrambles it slowly and silently. And doctors often miss it, especially in younger folks, or people with less obvious symptoms. Here's the thing. With Parkinson's, hindsight isn't 2020. It's 20 years later. There's a Bryceism for you. But what Ozzy had was PRKN2 genetic variant, right? A rare mutation that causes early onset Parkinson's. Now, this isn't your typical Parkinson's where dopamine levels gradually drop. This gene affects the way mitochondria work in neurons. Think of it like your cells are running out of battery much sooner than expected. And when I learned about this genetic forms like the PRKN2, it clicked for me. It explained why some people's progress differently, right? Why meds work differently. It made me realize that this disease isn't a one size fits all. It's not just as if you have Parkinson's, it's what kind you have now. Ozzy once said, you have a good day, and then a really bad day. Now, if you live with Parkinson's, you know exactly what that means. I had a weekend once where I hosted a talk, I helped my kid move, and I even cleaned the garage. And I felt amazing. And then boom, Monday hit. And I can't get out of bed without even holding onto the wall. I can barely even get moving. That unpredictability is real, but so is the hope. And what helps? Well, I pace my days. I don't overload back-to-back events, and I stay honest with my body. Parkinson's is like a weather app with no forecast. You learn to carry an umbrella anyway. That's pretty good. Parkinson's is like a weather app with no forecast, and you learn to carry an umbrella anyway. So with Parkinson's, always pack your umbrella. Now, what was his secret? Well, let's talk about Sharon, Ozzy's wife, his manager, his caregiver, and his companion, his champion. She stood by him through everything, and not just the music and the mayhem, but the appointments, the surgeries, the off days, the flare-ups. And when Ozzy said, "She's my rock," he really wasn't exaggerating. Every person with Parkinson's needs a Sharon, or needs to know they deserve one. And you know what? If you're a Sharon, well, thank you. Seriously, I mean that. You're the reason why we keep going. Behind every "I'm fine" is someone holding it together for both of us. If this is your first time here, this podcast, this channel is all about Parkinson's, right? Living better, like a real voice, real and raw. And today's kind of a tribute thing. And if you're new here, or it's the first time you're joining me, or first time you see me, if you want to come along for the ride, subscribe. We're changing things. We're mixing it up. Look in the comment section. This is a community. This is where people care. They want answers, get answers, and the whole community jumps in for it. So, welcome. All right. Here's one thing. Ozzy didn't just talk about Parkinson's. He showed up for all of us, and right till the very end. On July the 5th, 2025, just 17 days before he passed away, Ozzy performed what would become his final concert, and it took place at Villa Park in Birmingham, England, in front of this sold-out crowd. And here's the part that hit me the hardest. He did the whole performance seated on a custom bat-themed throne because his body couldn't handle standing. A bat-themed throne. Man, I'd love a bat-themed throne. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Maybe not a bat. Maybe something different. Maybe, I'm not sure what. But anyway, he couldn't handle standing, so he sat the whole time. But his spirit, unstoppable. He sang, he smiled, he brought people to tears. It was raw, defiant, and unforgettable. And that night wasn't just about music. It was a benefit concert called Back to the Beginning. And I think they raised over 140 euro or pound, I'm not quite sure, 140 million for Parkinson's research, children's hospitals, and hospice care. So even as Parkinson's took more from him physically, he gave more back than ever. And isn't that something to strive for? Don't let it take anything away from you. You can do better than it. You can do better to Parkinson's than what it can do to you. See, Ozzy showed us that Parkinson's doesn't get the final word. We do. So what part of the story hits home with you? Was it the delay, the gene, the concert, the caregiver love story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Remember, I read and reply to every comment. And if you're supporting someone with Parkinson's, tell us what you've been learning along the way. Let's keep this community real and raw. Okay, and now, as I promised in the beginning, here is my tribute to Ozzy, because he earned it. To the Prince of Darkness, who walked through the fire, stumbled through the fog, and still lit the stage on fire for the rest of us. Thank you. You showed us that vulnerability is strength and that Parkinson's doesn't end the music. It just changes the rhythm. Rock on, Ozzy, and rest easy. With Parkinson's, the loudest voice isn't always the strongest. It's the one that keeps singing. That's my Bryceism for you, Ozzy. Thanks for joining me.
Parkinson's may be part of your life, but it doesn't get to define it. Thanks for listening to Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. If this episode moved you, helped you, or reminded you you're not alone, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Want to go deeper? The Inner Circle is waiting. Monthly Zoom calls, 24/7 community, and a direct line to Bryce. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up and keep doing life today.